A huge beatdown win for Auburn over LSU. I am Matt Scalisi, joined here by Wes Siner for our Auburn postgame show. And Wes, Lauren Sisler and I talked this morning about this game. And before you and I start to break it down, I promised on the pregame show that if I was wrong about how this game was going to turn out, which I predicted it would be a multi-score win for LSU, that I was
Did you?
Yeah.
I didn't see the show.
That I was going to wear a dumb hat.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to do it because I'm a man of my word.
What hat is this? A Mario hat. Well, it fits for Halloween.
It is. It does. It's
Are you
a little big.
This? Are you going to wear it the whole time?
I'm going to wear it the whole show for sure. And then
Nice.
I got to take my son trick or treating after this, and I'll probably just leave it on, honestly,
Okay.
because I couldn't have been more wrong about how this game was going to go. I don't think what surprised me about it, Wes, is LSU playing poorly. I think the end of it that surprised me and that I didn't see coming was Auburn playing as well as they did in this game. And I realize that those two things interact with each other, but I don't think this was just LSU laying an egg. I think Auburn did a lot of things better today than they have done all season.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to be pretty well-rounded, in all phases of the game today. It just seemed to all click for Auburn, and in a way that it hasn't, in a while. I can't remember a game quite like this against an SEC team, in recent memory that looked this dominant. And so, yeah, I don't think anybody expected Auburn to do this today, given how they've looked in the last few weeks. This was totally unexpected, I think, for a lot of people.
Well, let's dig into it a little bit, specifically what Auburn did well, and I guess specifically better than what we've seen them doing this season. Auburn's defense has been pretty good all year. But the pass rush, I think we've talked about as being a little bit disappointing and not getting home and not making as many big plays as we expected. They definitely got the job done today. I think it seemed like they were smashing LSU quarterbacks all day long. They were breaking up the run attack in the backfield a lot, which obviously I think forced LSU to have to pass the ball a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about what you saw out of the Auburn defense today. And even though we've already felt pretty good about that side of the ball, this to me felt like probably their best game.
Yeah, this I agree with that. I mean, I think this is probably their best game of the season for the defense and for the offense. But 21 of the points for Auburn came off of turnovers. So forcing those turnovers was really big. Gave the offense a short field to work with. And yeah, like you said, I think the pass rush is improving. I think the line looked better. Obviously, I know LSU is having some quarterback issues, but it's encouraging to see for Auburn fans. I think for them again to put a whole game together. Offense looked great, defense looked great, even special teams. They didn't have to kick too many field goals or anything, but they had some nice punts. Anders Carlson had the touchdown saving tackle on a return. So I don't know. It was just, again, really unexpected, but a good overall win for Auburn.
Yeah, and I just checked. I knew that LSU did not do much on the ground today.
Hang on, you're gonna have to periodically explain the hat for people that are just joining. I think every 2 or 3 minutes, I think it deserves an explanation.
That's a fair point.
Other than maybe just people think you're dressing up for Halloween, which
I mean,
if I had known you were doing this, I would have found something to put on.
Maybe this is just my fashion style. Maybe this is just this is my culture. This is how I.
Your Italian culture.
That's right. No, I'm wearing the hat for anybody joining us late because I made a horribly incorrect prediction about this game.
Did you have a score prediction?
No, I just said LSU would win by multiple scores. And boy, did they not. What
led you to believe that?
They barely got multiple scores in the game, just on their own.
Right.
But yeah, no, I guess Wes, what I assumed was going to happen is I saw one of these two teams turning a corner and the other one not. And what I was wrong about was which team turned the corner. I mean, Auburn to me has been frustrating to watch all season. They haven't been improving, particularly on offense. They kept frustrating us with the same problems over and over again. And LSU seemed like they finally had a breakthrough last week when they were playing against South Carolina. It all just sort of washed away this week. And Auburn, I think a big part of it is, again, they had a lot of things go their way early, and the defense put them in some good positions early. But the Auburn offense did a lot of things effectively today that we've not seen them do all season. And I would say really it starts with Bo Nix. This is,
For sure, yeah.
to me, by far the best I've ever seen Bo Nix play. He had 300 yards passing, no interceptions, didn't really, pretty good efficiency, 18 of 24. So they didn't necessarily ask him to go out there and chuck it all day the way that they have in some of these other offensive game plans. They mixed in a lot of rushing, which, by the way, Bo Nix was a big part of that. He was the leading rusher today with 81 yards. So, I mean, it's funny because people are sort of joking on Twitter, Wes, like comparing Bo Nix today to like Nick Marshall. And I don't think you'll hear people compare him to Cam Newton, but even the Nick Marshall comparison, that's not what Bo Nix is, but that's kind of how he played today. Like, it almost seems like for Gus to really dominate and blow somebody out, he does need his quarterback to do both of those things well.
Yeah, I mean, Bo Nix was, I believe, 24/7 Sports, had him ranked as the top dual threat quarterback in his class. He's always been able to move with his feet, but when he mixes that and he's accurate through the air, he put it all together today. And I know we've talked before about his struggles on the road, but usually when he's playing at home, Bo Nix has been pretty effective throughout his first year and a half at Auburn. And so it's just another question, like, I don't know who their next road game is, or what the road schedule looks like for the rest of the season.
We're about to get into
they're on
that,
a bye next week. But, I'll just be curious to see if he can put on performances like this on the road, moving forward.
It's definitely been that. I mean, they put the stat up at one point during the broadcast of the game, the stark difference between his stats on the road and at home. They've got 2 home games left on the schedule and 2 road games. Like you said, Auburn has a bye next week. Then they have the final 4 games of the season. That and we'll go in order here. I'll walk you through it because I'm
building at Alabama.
They go at Mississippi State. They get Tennessee at home, at Alabama, and then the season closer is home against Texas A&M. So I would say you have 2 teams that have not been very good in the SEC this season. One team that obviously is probably favored to win the SEC still at this point on the road. And then Texas A&M has kind of been back and forth. Sometimes they look good, sometimes they don't. And Auburn gets them at home. So it's a mixed bag. And I think you look at the rest of the West right now, and really Auburn's in this position with 2 losses, Wes, that if they can win out, they only would need Alabama to lose,
one
to
more
slip
game
up somewhere and lose one other game, and Auburn would be in a position to potentially win the SEC West.
Let me ask, what's that other game that Alabama could lose?
That's tough. That's tough to see. Look, I think the issue with it is that probably what we would have assumed is the best chance for Alabama to lose another game was LSU. And they certainly didn't look like a team capable of hanging with Alabama today, or with much of anybody else. Maybe LSU gets way better when Miles Brennan comes back. But they sure didn't look like they had much of a pulse today. And other than that, Alabama has Kentucky and Arkansas outside of the Iron Bowl. So something fairly spectacular would have to happen. But even I would say at this point, even with the way things started, to be in a position here where Auburn is, I would say it's pretty clear that Auburn looks like the second best team in the West right now.
Either them or Texas A&M. And we'll see how it all plays out. But, I guess Auburn at 4-2, given the way the season has gone so far, it's not the worst thing in the world to be 4-2, I don't think. Especially after a win like this, it kind of gets them back on track a little bit offensively. So,
I think the one everybody's going to want back is the South Carolina.
Oh, for
game.
Sure.
Understandable to lose to a team like Georgia.
Sure.
Obviously, nobody's happy about it and the way it went down. But you've got.
They should be 5-1 if they had beaten South Carolina. And
Yeah.
obviously, there's been some calls that have gone Auburn's way this season against Arkansas and against Kentucky and even against Ole Miss. But I think that 4-2, 5-1 sounds about accurate for what fans expected at this point in the season.
Yeah, hard to ever know how, and please leave us your thoughts in the comments about exactly how you are feeling about the season at this point. But look, every season the goal is to be in contention for a championship. That aside, it's a big deal for Auburn to not only beat LSU, which has really been kind of a thorn in their side the last few years, but blew them out today. I mean, this is going to be one that people kind of can remember and point to for a long time in this rivalry. For sure. And it's kind of been a rivalry that's been heated up in the last 10, 15 years. And there's been so many close games with LSU and Auburn over the years. And games like this are rare in this series, at least in recent memory, for a team to just completely dominate like this. So I think a lot of people were expecting a close game today, and kind of the opposite happened. But it's just, you just never know with this Auburn team. They're just so inconsistent. I mean, they look totally different one week and then totally different, 180 the next week. And a lot of it has to do with the offense. But again, they were clicking today, and this is what can happen if Auburn's clicking on all cylinders, I guess. Well, maybe we are seeing the start of a corner being turned for this Auburn team. We'll see. We will definitely be following it as we go along. No game next week, but we will still have lots of coverage of Auburn. Can we still do an Auburn show next weekend? I don't think we're going to do fans out there that are dying to see us again. I don't think we're going to do a pre and post game show. We will definitely have Auburn live shows on AL.com on this Auburn channel, that wherever you're watching this, Facebook, YouTube, we will have live shows for you this week because the news does not stop. So you will definitely hear from Lauren Sisler and our Auburn beat writers a good bit this week. But Wes, are you staying in tonight? Are you trick or treating at all? I'd like to keep that to myself. I'll keep it a mystery. Yeah. Okay. No, I'll be working here. We got another game. That's true. We have another game ready to go. I'm about to go sneak out and trick or treat for a little bit here, and then in your Mario hat. Yeah, in the Mario hat. So if you see an Italian guy out there in a Mario hat, say hi, and just shave the beard off and go all out with it, and just go out with the mustache. This is like Mario, sort of like he's going through some stuff. This is quarantine Mario. Midlife crisis Mario. Yeah, quarantine Mario is my costume. All right. Well, congrats to Auburn and Auburn fans, and a big win tonight for Gus Malzahn and the program. Tons of coverage coming your way on this channel, including Gus Malzahn's post-game press conference. And for Wes, I'm Matt Scalisi. Thank you for joining us.